Alright, today this video is about how to make good connections for your slab box. And first we need to go over what's in front of you before you begin. I have my slabs that I have stored with the plastic in between. I have all of them here. I have the paper template that I put back together so I remember what it's supposed to look like, and also my drawing with my notes on it, how it's supposed to look as well. I have my bin with all the tools that I'll need, and I have the two items that I'm going to make texture with. Mine on my notes says maybe marbles, so I brought in 2 different size marbles. I also have the extra clay that I'm going to use for making stabilizing coils. So what I'm going to need out of my bin is this blue container. This is for water, and I have already gotten some water. That's going to be used for the connection. I will also need this modeling tool to make some scores, which I'm going to use with the water. So I'm going to put this to the side and take these out of the way. All right, so first I have all of my pieces. I made these for my handle. This is side 2. This is side 1. Put the box to the side. All right, so from the last video, I needed 2 sides because it wasn't long enough. I want to make sure that it's going to go all the way around. Oops, that's the bottom. So I can make sure that I have enough of this slab, and I do. So I'm going to first, so this is the bottom, and I wrote it on here. There's the bottom. That's going to be what I'm going to connect my sides to. Now when you connect your sides together, everything needs to be scored, slipped, stuck, and smooth. So I'm going to first what's called score. When you score something, you make tiny little marks in it. All the way, anything, and you can crisscross them if you want. And I'm also going to score the other side, the side I'm connecting. So I'm connecting this here. And make crisscrosses for scoring. Now your slip is going to be water. So I'm going to take a little bit of water and put it into those marks that I just made on both sides. And then I'm going to take my 2 scored and slipped edges and connect them. I'm going to squeeze them together, squish them together, and see there's some wet clay coming out of there. And now I'm going to smooth that crease. I'm going to take and push them together and smooth it over. Now, this is the inside. I can see, here's side 1 and side 2. Now it's just one big side. Making sure that I smooth it. Now to stabilize that connection, I'm going to make a skinny coil. Now this is a review. So I'm going to make a skinny coil, roll it out. And I'm going to make sure it's the right length, and I'm going to score the coil where I'm going to connect it. And this is only on the inside. And I'm going to also score where it's going. And now I'm going to add water to both sides. Stick it down. And then smooth it. So I'm going to smooth it just like the coil pot. I'm going to make sure that's pretty flat because this is a wall. You might want to get rid of some excess. Okay, this is going to be the inside, so I want to make sure it's not too bumpy. And I smooth it down, maybe add a little bit of water to smooth out any cracks or big bumps. Now I'm going to flip it over and make sure that this connection is smoothed as well, so it looks like one long piece. So every connection will have to be scored, slipped, add a coil, and then smoothed. So now I'm going to complete by putting this wall onto the bottom. It goes on the inside of this of your bottom. So no matter what shape it is, it's going to go to the inside. The inside. So I'm scoring all the way around the bottom, crisscross scoring. Okay, now I'm going to score my wall. Now if you have corners, you're going to connect one wall at a time, but mine is round, so I have one continuous wall. So I need to make sure that it's all done at once. I'm going to add some water to make sure it's squishy. Now I'm connecting my walls and my pieces of my box while they are leather hard. So I'm going to now, I have both the wall and the bottom piece scored, and it has some water on it so it fills in those scores. I'm going to place it carefully, making sure it's all the way on the edge, not overlapping too much. And so I do have an overlap. If that is the case for you, you need to cut that off. So you can score and slip this together. Now I'm going to do this before I smooth my other edges, because I want to do it all at once. So now, I put these two together, score, slip, stick, and smooth. I'm now smoothing the two creases together. So I'm going to do the outside and the inside first, and then I'm going to go flip it over and make sure that my edge is all the way on to the bottom of it, and smooth that so that connection looks like one piece. I'll show you what I'm doing. So what I'm making sure that all the creases are covered and smoothed. This piece kind of went in, so I got to push it back out here. There we go. All right. So now I have to add a coil right in here where I just put those two walls together. So I'm going to take the coil I made, make a little skinny one because it doesn't need to be too big, and I'm going to measure it, cut it with my finger, and I'm going to slip and score to put that coil in on that crease. So I'm scoring it where it's going to be connected, scoring the coil, adding some water to both sides, and then squishing it on. And now I'm going to smooth out that coil so it's flat. So you're making two pieces become one by good connections. Remember that good connections they're both scored on both sides. You add water as slip, score, slip, stick them together, and smooth, score, slip, stick, and smooth. Now there's one more connection that I have to add a coil to, and that is the one way at the bottom. The bottom and the walls need to have a coil all the way around. So every time you add anything, any connections have to have a coil. So I'm going to make a long, skinny coil to make sure that I can go all the way around the bottom. And first I'm going to test it before, make sure it goes all the way around. All right, that'll make it. So I'm going to score, slip, stick, and smooth in each of the corners. These coils give it the stability that it needs. So I'm going to score both sides of the corner. Make sure that all items that'll touch each other have scoring on them. And then I'm also going to score my coil both directions. Make sure I have water in there all the way around. Take the coil and start putting it into the bottom, a little bit at a time. Make sure it goes all the way around. So that's what it looks like now. Now I'm going to smooth it. I'm going to just take my finger and push it into the corner and make sure it's smoothed while supporting the outside with my other hand to make sure I don't push right through. So after I'm done smoothing all of this, I'm going to go back and make sure that there's no bumps that I need to fix. There's a lot of cleaning up I need to do inside. Okay, but I'm going to save that for a minute. Now what I'm going to do is take, for the top, I need to connect a coil that goes along the inside. So as you can see, it fits. I need to fix that shape. There we go. It fits right on top. Now what I'm going to do is make a coil on the inside. So when I move it, I will make sure to not, that if I move the box, it will not move. The lid will not move on its own. So I'm going to make a coil that's pretty, between skinny and medium. I don't want it too skinny because it'll just kind of melt into the top. So I'm going to make approximately a medium, and I want it to go all the way around the top, and it be in the shape of your top. Mine is round. So let's see how. So you want it about a 1/2 inch, because if you can see, this is a 1/4 inch. So you want it about a 1/2 inch inside so it doesn't move. So that's going to, so first thing I'm going to do is connect the coils. I'm going to smooth those together, maybe a little water. Now I'm going to score, slip, stick, and smooth the coil on. So I'm approximately scoring where it's going to go, because I can always clean it up later. And now we'll see if that's all right. That will fit. I'm going to score my coil. Both directions, add some water. Stick. So I scored, I slipped, I stuck, and now I'm going to smooth. Just on the inside a little bit. Make sure you're supporting it on the outside. I want to make sure it's pretty nice, because if I give this to somebody, they'll be lifting up the lid and this will be there. All right, so I want to readjust it, make sure it's smooth on the inside, just like the coil pot. Make sure it looks pretty even. Also, now I'm going to make sure it sits on the inside of my box. All right, now I can smooth the outside just slightly. I might even use this. Make sure it's smoothed all the way around, and I can clean up my imperfections later. So that's a good connection. Score, slip, stick, smooth. Any connection throughout the year will require those 4 steps. Score, slip, stick, and smooth. I can get rid of the top because I know it's the top now. And clean that up. Clean up my coil. All right, so now I have a lid, but now I need my handle. As I'm seeing right here, my handle are the 3 circles. So I'm going to score, slip, stick, and smooth right in the middle. Score, both sides. Anywhere there's an attachment, anywhere there's a connection, you need to score, slip, stick, and smooth. So these 2 are also going to be stuck together. So I'm going to have to connect them as score, slip, stick, and smooth those together also. So I'll do that. Score, slip, stick, 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 and smooth over that connection. Smooth over that connection. Now I left a little clay on, extra clay on this one, so I don't need to add a coil. And see, I'll smooth that over. And those will be the first 2, and then I'm going to add on the 3rd one. Anywhere these touch, it'll have to be scored, slipped, stuck, and smooth. Slip, thick. So now I can score these two, score the top. I don't want to push too hard because I'll push right through. So I'm going to use a little bit of my coil clay to put in the crease here, and the crease here. And then on this side also, and then I'm going to smooth it. These are just stabilizing. I'm going to smooth out these pieces of clay here to make it look pretty. Take off extra that's not needed. All right. So now, when you're working with your box with a lid, you want to make sure that you never grab it by the handle until it's completely done. Not even when it's bisque fired, because it is still very fragile. Those connections are fragile even at the bisque fired stage. So now I have what looks similar to my original. Now before I add texture, I'm going to go back and take some water and start smoothing, just a little bit of water. Start smoothing over my imperfections, all these bumps and scrapes. I'm going to make sure it looks round at the top. For example, this, where I cut it, is not clean, so I'm going to clean up my cuts then for the next part, which is adding texture.